In this video, I want to show you my process for how I like to make changes to RLCI. Let's go. So here we are in the RLCI repo. If we have a look at the Git status, we can see that there's nothing going on. And I noticed a problem a while ago that I want to reproduce and fix. So if we try to run the test, they currently pass. And if we open up a text editor and go to, let's see, infrastructure, test, server. Yeah, so some of these tests use a socket which is located in TMP test server socket. So if we remove that file and run the test again, they fail because the file doesn't exist. So the test currently pass because this file exists on the system, and that's no good. So let's see if we can fix that. So first I want to get that file back, and now the test pass. So I'm going to set up my loop to run the ZeroPy build script in a loop whenever files change. So now the test pass. So the goal here is to modify the test first so that they always fail, no matter what the file system looks like. And one way to do that is to don't use a fixed path here. So we use a temporary directory for the socket instead of /tmp. So in this file, I have temp file, I used that before. So we can do something like that, create a temporary directory, and then we can create a temporary path for our socket. So let's copy that. And let's go down here and search for test server. And the first is here. So let's do tmp socket, let's call it. And tmp.socket. And let's replace this with tmp socket. And I think it's used down here as well. I need to replace this. And here's one more test where this style is used. So let's copy this again and say socket like that, and now there are no more uses of this test server socket. So if we save this, we will get the same error again, because now we're not trying to use this test TMP server socket anymore. We can remove that, make sure that it's gone, and if we start the command server again, this will always fail, saying the file not found error. So this is probably happening. I'm guessing that we start the server process, which will eventually create this TMP socket, but too quickly we're creating the client and sending a request to this socket, and if the file doesn't exist, we get this error. So the fix for this is in the client. When we send a request, we'll also accept the file not found error. Which means if we try to connect to socket and we get the file not found error, we will try again a few times. So this is this retry delays where it tries a couple of times before giving up completely. And now the test pass. We can run it again many times. We can see that it still passes. So what we've done is that we have made the test more predictable, more reliable, so that it doesn't depend on the state of the file system. And then we fixed the socket client to actually handle this error, which happened before as well in certain situations. So if we look at the diff here, this is what we did. So we replace this /tmp test server socket with a path that is in a temporary location, so that there's a new path every time. And then we fix the client down here by also trying again if we get a file not found error. So let's commit that. And say something like something like that. And now I want to integrate my change, so I run zeropi integrate. And that worked well, and change is now integrated, and we're done. The fix to the socket client is now deployed to production. The whole thing took about 6 minutes to do, excluding time to think about the problem. And this is how I like to work. Small, valuable steps, having automated tests give me feedback on my changes, and automatically and safely deploying my changes to production. I also like to think about the problems that I'm working on without being at the computer, and I made another video about that I'll link in the description. If you want to know more about the continuous integration workflow that I'm using, check out my previous video. Until next time.